From the city of Troy, I'm Frank Sinato, and this is TroyTalk Today. In this end-of-year episode, we're going to focus on the Troy Now initiative, an initiative of the city of Troy to manage, direct, and execute projects funded by the American Rescue Plan Act for the betterment of Troy residents. Troy Now started years ago to include your voice in investment decisions and ensure transparency around the allocation and development of ARPA projects in our neighborhoods. And while the Madden administration's term may be ending, there's still more investment in the works, with many results still to come. Today, you'll hear from a few of the local grant recipients about what ARPA funding means to them. Then you'll hear from Mayor Patrick Madden about the progress we've made thus far. Let's talk.
We were incredibly excited. Operating a makerspace is a very resource-intensive process. Sometimes access to our space is limited just because it can be very expensive. So we knew that with this ARPA funding, we would have a chance to lower the barrier to making, to creation, and give an opportunity for more residents of Troy to experience what a makerspace can provide. And what that allows us to do is to provide reduced membership dues up to 75% for Troy residents and for anyone that wants to start a business in Troy and establish a business at a Troy address.
We heard we got the ARPA grant, we were thrilled because with this ARPA investment, we'll be able to build 4 brand new energy efficient houses in North Central Troy. The ARPA investment is not only allowing Habitat to expand access to homeownership for more of our neighbors, but it's also really reinvesting in the entire neighborhood. So we know from our experience here in Troy that homeownership not only can help stabilize a family, but can actually stabilize and strengthen the entire block that it's on. In every neighborhood where Habitat builds, Habitat houses provide shelter for the family that purchased them, of course, but they also really strengthen the fabric of that neighborhood. We know that neighborhoods with higher rates of homeownership tend to also see lower rates of crime. They tend to see more investment from their other neighbors. And actually homeownership is one of the key markers that attracts businesses to the neighborhood too. So it can be an economic development engine as well. And we're thrilled to be able to build even more in Troy and to have a greater impact here through ARPA funds.
Well, it came as a wonderful surprise. We were very, very proud to have been a recipient of the ARPA funding. It's really important to our project, which is important for the whole community. The music hall brings over 100 programs a year into the downtown core, over 45,000 visitors. They're spending money, they're going to restaurants, and it's really a key part of the economic vitality. The ARPA funding will allow us to really extend our education programs, which we've been growing over the last few years. And now we'll be able to bring students and young people into the building, take advantage of the world-class music hall, but also have access to the artists that we bring in from all over the world. We're just so thankful to the city and to all the folks who have made such an effort to bring this project into play, and we're looking forward to making it real.
Well, our initial goal was to ensure that the funds were spent in a way that the benefit would continue to flow for years on out. Often we see one-shots of money come in that are spent down in that particular year or invested in short-term budget fixes. We wanted to avoid that. We wanted people in the next generation, 10 years down the road, whatever, to look back on what we invested it in and say, oh, that came from an ARPA investment. And so it's really an investment in the future of the city of Troy, not necessarily just the present. ARPA was a godsend in that it allowed us to continue our fiscal discipline, to correct the imbalances in our finances, yet invest in things that bring a quality of life to the residents of the city and prospective residents as well. I have options in terms of where I live, and I chose a community that had assets, that had things that sang to me, and I want to be able to offer that to all of our residents in the city. They ought to live in places where they choose to live, not places where they're forced to live. And by providing assets, cultural assets, recreational assets, quality of life assets throughout our community, then it gives everybody that ability to live in a place where they want to live, where what is available to them pulls on their heartstrings and inclines them to say, this is my home. ARPA gave us the ability to invest in quality of life issues in our parks, in our institutions, in our nonprofits. Some of the things that we were able to do with ARPA funds brought great positive attention to the city of Troy, and it attracts people from outside of Troy to come and visit, to come and invest by way of expanding or building a business there, or by way of buying a home there and starting a family, setting down roots. So ARPA really helped us round out our approach to the city, investment in the city. So I'd like to thank the community, the residents, the nonprofits, educational institutions, everybody that came together and offered ideas for ARPA. It made our job more difficult in the sense that we had more ideas to cull through, more applications to review, but it made our job easier in the sense that we were confident that we were addressing the things that are important to the community. That sort of input is a double-edged sword. It created more work, but in the end it created a better outcome as well. Troy is a city of great passion. So many residents, business owners, homeowners, Little League coaches, basketball coaches have contributed significantly to where we are today because they believe in the value of community. It's been a real honor to be able to work with them, to bring a little fiscal discipline to the city operations, to be able to engage the community in a number of ways. ARPA is just one of those, but we also went through a very extensive community planning process at the beginning of the administration and a rezoning process, and the citizen participation was phenomenal, and it has all contributed to a better outcome of those products. And I just am very excited about where we go from here. We have a very solid financial foundation, and a lot of credit goes to the people who day in and day out get involved in their communities, show passion for their neighbors and the institutions in the communities. Our partners in both Albany and Washington who have been generous and have steered resources in our direction. It's been a terrific time to be mayor of Troy. Not without its challenges, but good things that are worth doing are often hard to do. But the result is pretty remarkable, and I'm thrilled with where we were able to go with the city of Troy. And I really look forward to its future. I'm quite positive.
Today, we learned about the American Rescue Plan Act's impact on Troy neighborhoods, our culture and families, and how the Troy Now initiative brought unprecedented community engagement to these transformative projects. I thank our guests today, including Troy Mayor Patrick Madden, everyone who's engaged with the Troy Now initiative over the years, and of course, our viewers, for coming along with us to learn more about the important work happening in our community thanks to the allocation of American Rescue Plan Act funds. Thanks for joining us for Troy Talk today. Talk soon.